My mom has a little book that she maintains I wrote when I was 8 years old in 3rd grade that said that I was going to be a doctor back then, and that she maintains that was, whenever I was asked as a kid, that's what I was always going to be. Well, I think it all boils down to the doctor who was our family's doctor was just a truly larger-than-life character. And when I started to become a good golfer, he was just so enthralled with that he would show up to my matches and send me notes. And I think, part of my motivation and interest was just being around somebody that obviously loved their job and thought that it would be a interesting and good career for me too. So I actually came from a very poor family, and going to college, I was going to be the first person in my extended family to ever go to college, and we had no idea how we were going to pay for it. So when a golf scholarship came through, it was a godsend. So I went to college at the University of Detroit, and I was a biology major, and fortunately they had a very good relationship with Wayne State's medical school. They were no more than 2 miles apart, and I was able to use my experiences there at Detroit to then get into Wayne State's medical school, and worked out great. Early in my career, my main focus was in obstetrics, and of course that's such a positive thing almost universally for everybody that's going through it. I tend to be a fairly emotional person anyway. My mom likes to joke that I cry at supermarket openings, so I can't tell you how many times have been in a delivery room, and me and the dad are the only two crying in the room, because it's just such an incredible experience when it comes out the way you want it to anyway. One of the surgeons that I worked with in the community I was in the Army Reserve. And he had told me that the Army was in desperate need of people to run their OB-GYN residency programs. It was a very interesting experience. I got to do it for about 13 years and go to some great places and work with some phenomenal soldiers. One of the real great experiences for me with it was I got to meet Dr. Scott Goodrich, who is also one of our Parkview doctors that I share an office with. He and I were stationed at Fort Lewis together in Washington. He was essentially right out of his fellowship training at that point in time. But it was just crystal clear to me that he was a truly extraordinary surgeon. But I got deployed to Iraq for 7 months when I was in the Army. And at the time I was deployed, the mission over there had dramatically decreased in intensity. So there was not a lot for us to do. So you had to figure out how to make the time pass. So I figured about a month into it, with nothing to occupy my time, I was going to write this book. I came back and I was able to successfully publish it, and that led to enough goodwill between me and the publisher that when a friend of mine wanted to try to get some of his poetry published, I was able to collaborate with him and help him get a book of poetry published as well. I made an adult goal when I was about 43 that I wanted to try to play professional golf when I turned 50. That's the cutoff when you become a senior professional golfer. So when I was 51 and 52, I qualified to go to what they call the Tour Qualifying Tournament. And then as I was preparing to do that, I decided the best way for me to figure out where I was in relationship to these people I was going to be competing with was to go out and watch them up close. So I got a part-time job caddying for a couple of professional golfers. Both of them had extraordinary success in some of the tournaments that they played in when I was caddying for them. And so because of that success, I got to be literally 5 feet away from a couple of the best golfers in the world for hours at a time to watch how they went about their business and how they conducted themselves and learn from that. So it was really a great experience to do that, and it, I think, prepared me to give as good a run as I could at trying to qualify to play professionally myself. Getting to watch professionals who are at the very best in the world at what they do and see how they are constantly reassessing what their strengths and weaknesses are and trying to improve was an extraordinary experience for me. When I was in the Army, I saw the same thing with a lot of the higher level officers there and many of the doctors. So I'm constantly looking for areas that I can improve and then trying to figure out ways to make what are maybe not your biggest strengths into strengths. And I've, for probably 5 or 6 years now been concentrating on diagnosing and hopefully successfully treating women with cancer. It's just an incredibly rewarding thing to be able to help people get through the worst crisis of their life. And it's been a truly rewarding thing to be able to concentrate on that for the last 5 or 6 years too.